energy, and I'm super excited to be here today. You need to be on screen the whole
I
time, so
know.
come closer. Today I'm with my wonderful photographer, one of my best friends. She was at my wedding. She took photos at my wedding. And we are here to talk about your business and your magic and everything that makes you kind of not your average photographer.
Not your average photographer. I would agree.
Jonna Michelle.
Hi.
Welcome. The crowd goes wild. So this is exciting for me because obviously you and I have been friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You met me when I was busking the
Yes.
streets of DC back in 2017-ish.
Yeah.
And then we've developed this friendship that also balances professional relationship as well, which is quite cool. But one of the things that I'm really excited about so I'm a big believer in like surrounding myself with people who make me the best version of myself,
Mhm.
right? I feel like you are your 5 closest friends, and so I want to be around people who make me dope and make me badass. And I also want to help make them dope and make them badass. So I say that to mean like it's really cool having someone like you in my wheelhouse because you're somebody who's creative, but you're also very professional. You're very you've worked the corporate life, you've done that stuff, and yet you've chosen to elevate your creativity to help other creatives and corporate people elevate themselves.
Mhm.
Can you walk me through like what does that look like? Why is that important to you?
So I think it's interesting that you use the word corporate because
You're
I
anti-corporate.
call myself the anti-corporate brand photographer, and I feel like all of that goes back to everything that you just said, whether it's supporting small businesses, being an artist myself,
Mm-hmm.
having, my own business. I feel like it all goes back to my roots and who I am as a person,
Who
which
is that?
is a labor activist.
What?
Yes.
Okay, what's a labor activist?
So I was born in a very proud union home.
What's a union?
Hold on just a second.
Okay, I've got questions. Sorry.
I have union members going back generations in my family. And what's really interesting is like, I feel like you are a person you can say, like, I am Fijian. I was born in New Zealand and I have all of these elements in my life. I can tell you I'm German, Russian, English, and Polish, but I don't know anything about that. What I hold on to about my identity is the union stuff. And so,
Okay.
yeah. So that like really shaped up until this point in my life,
Yeah.
supporting working people and having sort of a negative view of like very large corporations.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then also, my dad went on strike when I was in 2006. It was like a really pivotal moment in my life. I've spent, you said I did the corporate thing, but really what I did was communications for labor unions. And like, my whole career up until this point has been supporting working people and trying to build up communities and build up people
Okay.
in this country. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Thanks.
That's cool. So, what got you started in? I mean, obviously, your dad was a huge influence in your life,
Mm-hmm.
but parents can only kind of take us so far. At what point did you decide that you were going to tie that part of yourself to your identity?
I don't know that it was ever a conscious decision. All I know is that I grew up going to union meetings. I grew up having, I was 7 years old having social and economic justice conversations at a dinner table.
Okay.
I knew, and when I was in elementary school, I knew and was aware that there were children my age in other parts of the world that were working in sweatshops.
Okay.
And that I was very privileged to be able to go to school.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Panchita Horner is asking, what did you get for Christmas?
What did I get for Christmas?
Come closer, because you're like way away from me. There we go. Okay. There we go.
I have a lovely friend in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. I'm from Nebraska.
Dang it. Okay.
And she sent me a really lovely Christmas gift that I got to open, and that was super fun. And
what was it?
what was it? It was like I got a little magnet and I got like some little handmade goodies and some chocolates and I got some chocolate from somebody else I know.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to your history, like growing up with labor activism and
Mhm.
being aware of um, obviously the wide diaspora of working conditions that there
Mhm.
are globally
Mhm.
as well as in the United States.
Mhm.
What, like, as a creative who's kind of danced along the ledge of corporate America, because you've worked in so many professional
Yes.
spaces, right? What does that shift look like for you? Why are you so passionate about being a creative?
So yeah, it's interesting. I'm like just as an individual, I'm incredibly eclectic. So even though I identify as a labor activist, I also identify as a creative. I've always been creative. I had like an art room growing up, and I always gravitated towards art as a little kid. My mom actually thought I was going to be an artist,
Hmm.
and I grew up to major in journalism and then like be an activist.
Okay.
But
Well,
even
journalism's kind of an art.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's writing, right? Like writing is, another skill that I have. So I feel very privileged that at this point in my life I've always been able to make a living for myself at that
Mm-hmm.
intersection of
Mm-hmm.
activism and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in the corporate world, but it's always been in communication. So I've always been doing um I just have, it's in me to want to create things, whether it's meals for my family or writing things or photos. And I think the answer to the question that you're getting at is how do all these things converge? Um, I just saw, like, I was introduced to photography and journalism and, excuse me, in college. I stuck with it. And then as I got into my professional career, I saw so often um, these large organizations would invest thousands of dollars into like professional photography at events and all different kinds of things and then like not actually use it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so I wanted to be someone who used that skill to help small businesses support themselves, get out there. It's the small businesses that hold communities together, that do really good work, that aren't, leeches on our system and support people and build people up. And so I wanted to use my skills to support that community and help that community build themselves up and then also help them make sure that they're actually using the photos, which is why I'm not an event photographer. I'm a branding
So
photographer.
hold on, you're saying that big businesses are leeches? Explain that to me, please.
Oh, I don't
Like, I
know.
know a lot of people who are in big business who are not leeches. They're lovely people.
It's not the people. I think it's the corporations, and like I'm thinking of like Shell Oil or these giant corporations that control. We're getting like really radical, aren't we?
Well, this is part of it, though. Like,
Yeah.
as the reason I'm asking this is because to state that you're the anti-corporate branding photographer is kind of a radical thing. So tell me about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so carry on.
Okay. Well, if you want me to tell you about it, like, let me tell you my family story. I think that
Sure.
will help a lot. So I mentioned that I have a lot of labor activism in my family. I can trace my family's heritage back to Missouri. My great great grandfather was a coal miner.
Okay.
This was we figured out probably the late 1800s. They knew the coal mine wasn't safe. They sent him down, him and six of his colleagues and a foreman. The mine collapsed. He didn't make it out. He's buried somewhere in an unmarked coal mine in Missouri. My
Do you know
great
which one?
there's like hundreds. We know it's Macon County, Missouri.
Damn.
So my great grandmother at 12 years old had to quit school and had to go work in a hotel
Good
to
Lord.
clean rooms to provide for her family. My grandmother was born homeless in Missouri in 1929. That one incident of a giant corporation killing its workers created a cycle of poverty in my family. So my grandma, again, born 1929 in Missouri, born homeless. And then the steel mills in Gary, Indiana opened, and like so many families, both black and white, my family moved north to take jobs in the steel mills. My grandparents worked in the steel mills. My father worked in the steel mills. And that industry was very heavily unionized. We can get into won't I won't bore you with union things, but it was what we call a CIO union. So it was a union that organized black and white workers together, and anyone could be in the union. And it lifted a whole generation of people out of poverty.
That's amazing.
And so I grew up with those stories. I grew up with the economic justice stuff, and then, like I said, the steel mills ended up closing down because of bad trade policy.
Because of what?
Bad trade policy.
Oh, okay.
So my folks.
Politics matter.
Yeah,
Forget
they
about
do.
it. Okay.
Yes. My folks moved to Nebraska, where I'm from and where I was born. And ironically, my dad ended up back in the same union that he grew up in, and that he knew. And then, he took me to those union meetings. That was part of the culture. That was part of, again, how I grew up. He went on strike in 2006. I was out there on the picket line. The first time I went to picket line, I was 10 years old. UPS strike of 1997. If anyone out there is watching this and remembers. And then, went to school for journalism, but always contained that activist bent. Got introduced to photography in college while I was working for my student newspaper. I worked as a newspaper reporter for about a year in Nebraska, and then moved out to DC to begin my career in labor, and spent 15 years working for labor unions.
Okay.
That's my story. Does that make more sense now?
It does make more sense. So then walk me through the journey from that history and being so, because you're still super, I want to say political, that's not the right word, it's super activated about labor unions and about social justice and about equity in the workforce, and predominantly economic equity, and just working conditions. But what was the thing for you that made you want to go from that history to then photographing small businesses or small business owners and their products, to help elevate small business?
That was really an evolution of me individually as an artist.
Okay.
When I was literally in a college newsroom, and all this camera equipment got dumped in my hands. Our staff photographer had to quit overnight, and I will answer your question, but it's a long answer.
We got time.
I literally just got professional grade gear, no training, and was told, like, figure it out, like, go do it. And I ended up actually winning some awards from the Nebraska Press Association that first year.
Wait, Nebraska Press Association? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. The NBA.
Okay. Sure. That first year that I was, still a student photographer. Cool. And photography was always what I thought would be like a hobby. And it was always something fun. It was something on the side. It was something that I really had to work at and build. When I moved out to DC, I continued those skills and had a few odd paying jobs here and there. And that's what led me to, like, really look into doing it more. But when I started researching professional photographers, every professional photographer that looked like me, which means young white female, was basically a wedding photographer. And I thought that in order to be a professional photographer, that's what I had to do, either that or families.
Interesting.
And so I spent many years doing a lot of family photos. Some people might know me as from doing family photos in Sligo Creek, where I live, which is a beautiful place for photos.
You took a photo of our family.
I sure did. Yeah. And then I did, some weddings. But just something about that, it wasn't fitting with who I was as a person, and, my desire to, like, want to make the world a better place. And I finally sat back for a minute, and it was actually, I don't think I've verbalized this before. It was DJ that inspired me to.
My husband?
Yeah. Because
there we go.
I asked him, like, why Krav Maga? Like, of all these martial arts, why that one? And I think he said, well, I wanted to work with adults.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You can choose.
I didn't know that that was a thing. And so I was like, yeah, I want to work with adults because as much as I love families, like your kids are hard to photograph. Oh my God. There's like personalities and, nap time and did I have my snack and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, to be fair, I like my nap time and
I
snacks
mean,
too.
I do too. Right?
Okay.
So that was like a huge piece of it. And then again, I was like, if I'm going to do this form, I can't just show up and like take a picture of somebody. For me, there has to be meaning behind it. There has to be elevation of some kind. And I just gravitated towards, again, small businesses, these people who are building up communities, doing good things in the community, um, being everything that we need, especially right now, as our country kind of goes through this, interesting political climate. And it worked. And I especially love working with small business owners who are not used to being photographed. I love the power of what brand imaging can do and how someone can really step into their power in front of the camera and find confidence and see themselves in a way that they've never seen themselves before. And then have photos that they're really proud to showcase and then be able to tell the world, oh, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Here's this photo. Um, and yeah, it's sort of a gift that keeps on giving in a way.
That's interesting in a couple of ways because one, you mentioned you like to work with, with small businesses and brands who are not used to being photographed. Yet I've worked with a plethora of photographers and you were really keen to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
You are, I mean, at the end of the day, you're an ideal client, right?
Why?
Like, in many ways.
What does your ideal client look like?
I think my ideal client is an entrepreneur who is mission driven in some ways.
Okay.
Is doing something really unique and cool in the world. What I loved about working with you is you're a performer, so a camera gets in your face and you kind of automatically know what to do. So in some ways you made my job easy. In other ways it was a real challenge because I remember when you came to me you said you wanted a combination of Alicia Keys and Pink. And I was like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then also as an individual, just like me, you're so eclectic, right? You're like, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a public speaker. Oh, and I do this thing where like I help kids process trauma through songwriting. Build community. How do we take an image and showcase that in one image?
Right.
And instead of settling for one image, which I encourage no one to ever do,
Ever.
we did an entire suite of images, and that's what I love doing. It's creating a visual suite of custom cohesive brand imaging that small businesses can use to elevate themselves, whether it's a headshot, the image that you have on your big vertical banner, which I love, the image that you have on your business card.
Which
They're
I
all
love, yeah.
they all go together.
Yeah.
And
like
anyone, yeah, just like that.
Forever, like shubap shubada yippee boom dee. Sorry,
I'm not the singer in this relationship.
You don't like Grace? Okay. No, the reason why I was asking that is because, again, like I've worked with so many photographers, and most photographers, like I'm really glad that you gave that sort of background. But most, from my experience, even with my, my attitude and my experience with photographers, I'm used to kind of having to take charge in photo shoots because I've always only ever worked with male photographers, no shade against them at all, but every single photographer I've worked with outside of you has been male, and they've all been very much point and click. Do something, Emma, point, click. Do something else, point, click. Whereas you are the first photographer that I've worked with where if I had a little bit of eyeliner smudged, you would come and fix it. If my bra strap was showing, you would come and fix it. you would encourage me into poses that were kind of out of my comfort zone a little bit, but came out beautifully because even though it might not feel natural for me on camera, the way the light is shining in that particular pose or the way that I don't know the angle
the
is
lines of your body, yeah.
right. It was really interesting from my perspective to be with somebody who is so invested in the mission, not just make Emma comfortable.
Interesting. Okay, so I have so many thoughts here. First of all, it makes me really sad that you have had that kind of experience
I'm
with
not
other
upset
photographers.
about it.
No, but it makes me sad
Why?
because I do see that a lot, and not only with men, but there is I have seen in this industry a focus on the gear and the equipment rather than the client and the person. And so I think the other thing that makes me different is I bring a lot of empathy to my work. I think that's why I enjoy working with people who are not used to having their photos taken, even though you are. But it can be really, really intimidating to show up in front of a camera, in front of a stranger, and do the thing. And then, of course, as women, we have all of the societal pressure that we're fighting against, telling us like who we should be, how we should dress, how we should look. And so I'm really big on let's just for this moment, for this time that we're together, that's going to go away. It's just going to be you and me. And I'm going to do whatever I need to do to meet you in that moment, meet you where you are, and get you feeling really, really comfortable. And so for someone who is not used to having their photo taken and is not used to performing as you are, we might not get to more creative images, and that's okay. We're doing what that person feels comfortable with and what's going to make them feel safe and bold and powerful in that moment. Whereas with you, you're, again, a performer. You're used to showing up in front of the camera, and so that gave us more leeway to do some of those more fun things, whether it was standing boldly in the
Holding a
middle,
guitar
yeah,
in the middle of the street.
or doing something, kind of like this.
So that was out of my
more,
comfort zone.
and I love that photo. Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorites.
It feels so vulnerable for me because I'm not used to being soft.
Yeah. It's very soft and feminine. Yeah.
Which is so out of my comfort zone. Okay, so you've mentioned a couple of things, but the question that's on the tip of my tongue. When it comes to women, obviously you've photographed you photograph men as well, but one of the things I think is really cool about your work and what it felt like for me working with you, but also seeing the eclectic array of humans that you've photographed over the years. They've also been super eclectic in body size and body shape and disability. And I think that's the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've definitely had conversations with people that have been, a little bit hesitant, shall we say, or they just don't have the wherewithal to know how to photograph somebody with darker complexion. Especially, I have multiple artists, in my band that I rotate depending on the day. And they all have different complexions. Some of them are, Black American, some of them are white, some of them are Hispanic. So getting a good gauge of different skin types all showing up clearly, defiantly, beautifully on camera, it's a skill, right? But also, highlighting the warrior wounds and highlighting the way that people, just sort of empowering people to see beyond the dementia, beyond the hydrocephalus, beyond the missing limbs, beyond the whatever physical limitations we have or the society
just titles.
Right.
I mean, titles in general. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is it about that lights you up?
That's such a good question. I I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you do. We were sitting around in an artist group that you had put together, and you had us go around the room and introduce ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, "What's one thing you want people to know about you?" And I chose the thing that I wanted people to know about me is that I feel like I see people. And I don't know if that comes from being part of a community that gets overlooked or misunderstood in terms of like working class people. I don't know if it's, I'm raised by a parent that's a double amputee. Um, I don't know where that comes from, but I like to see people for who they are as individuals and not just gloss over. And I think, again, I bring that same empathy with my camera.
Mm.
And for me, it's so powerful to see someone come out of their shell, and feel safe to really be themselves and showcase themselves in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking of another client, um, named Dan Reed, who, hi Dan, if you're watching this. Dan is, I feel like, a local celebrity in Silver Spring. And Dan hired me a few years ago to take some headshots. uh, Dan had recently gone through some life transitions and realized that they were non binary, and was using that photo shoot really not only to brand themselves, but to really step into their new life and be like, this is who I am. And I remember working with Dan because Dan was really nervous at the beginning of the session. And for everything that we're talking about right now, Dan is also has, different ethnicities.
We call it, uh, was it multicultural or chop suey?
Okay, yeah.
Overcoming racism in one body. That's
Yeah.
what I say.
And then, what does it mean to be non-binary? What does it mean to be male? What does it mean to be female?
Mm.
And then you have the spectrum of GLBTQ, like all of those identities. And I see so many people take their photo sessions so seriously, which I'm glad about. But then that creates a lot of nervousness of like, oh my god, like is this person just going to capture one of my identities rather than like who I am as a person? And so, um I'm here to show up and capture all of you, like all of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And try to showcase that, whether we're doing, just headshots or, like I said, an entire 2-part suite of images. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, cool. Is there anything that you think might be surprising for people to know about you?
surprising. I mean, I feel like I'm always full of surprises. Like, honestly.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So I maybe as a photographer, if we're looking at it through that lens, I do a lot of environmental work. Again, I'm in what I mean by that is I'm not like out there supporting the Bay, although the Chesapeake Bay is wonderful. But I don't have a studio. I work in the natural environment, whether that's Sligo Creek or downtown DC in the middle of the street.
I mean, listen, we're living dangerously, okay?
I don't. I only use natural light in my work, so you're not going to find me with big light kits or backdrops. And it's really just me and my camera. And I've actually been criticized for that by other photographers. But I stand by that method because, again, it allows me to connect with someone. I'm not focused on like, is this light just right? Is there like a wrinkle in the backdrop? Like, it's literally just us in the moment. And then when I have the camera, that allows me and us to be able to move, create together,
Right.
have conversations. I can check in with people. And again, my focus is solely on my client and not all this other stuff that's going on. So that may be the one thing that's surprising, and another way that I'm really different from other photographers.
So, okay. One of the things, since you brought up my husband, I'm just gonna go there for a moment.
Who's also my martial arts teacher.
I'm just saying, he's kind of a big deal. But when it comes to, so when he and I first got together, we would often have conversations about our businesses and the values that we would bring to our businesses, well, to our own lives.
Mhm.
What are the things that we value in life? And then how do those values sort of blend into our businesses? So it wouldn't be surprising to you to know that obviously excellence is one of my husband's values. Integrity is one of my husband's values. Communication is definitely one of mine. Excellence as well, obviously. But creativity is one of my huge values. Um, Honesty, authenticity, those are values that are really important to me as an entrepreneur. What are the values that you personally have, and what are the values that you think might bleed out into Jonna Michelle Photography?
I've never been asked that before, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to have an answer like right away.
Think real quick. Come on.
I would say, I mean, obviously, again, like so much for me goes back to social and economic justice. So I want to make sure that I'm supporting clients who are doing good work and uplifting other people. I think that's really, really huge for
So
me.
justice.
Yeah,
Okay.
justice.
That's a value.
Yeah,
It's a good value.
sure.
Okay. What else?
I like authenticity for sure.
I
Especially
figured that was going to be the
because,
case.
again, like I'm such an eclectic individual. Like in this conversation alone, we've talked about like Nebraska, labor unions, photography, now martial arts. Like I was also a hula dancer for 7 years.
What?
So yeah, I would say patience, kindness, integrity, um, also excellence, although I'm my own worst critic of my own art, so
Perfectionism is a thing, but
yeah,
we're not focusing
yeah.
on the negative. Okay. Okay. Cool. If you were to have dinner with 5 random people, either alive or dead, who would they be?
Oh my god. Okay, so my hero, Frances Perkins.
Yes. I didn't see that coming.
If for those who don't know, Frances Perkins was the first female cabinet member and the first Secretary of Labor. She served under FDR. She was the only cabinet member to serve his entire administration, and she is the reason that we have things like a 40-hour work week and laws protecting children against labor. So I adore her, and you can see her name on the labor building downtown.
Okay.
So definitely her. Probably my grandmother, just because I would love to see her again and talk to her.
Love that.
I have 3 left. Ooh, Eugenie Clark, my other childhood hero. She's an ichthyologist.
An atheologist?
Ichthyologist. She studied fish.
Oh, I thought you said an atheologist, the opposite of a theologist. I was like, what?
No, ichthyologist.
She studied fish.
She was my hero as a kid.
Why?
I was like obsessed with marine animals when I was a child. I can still name like all the whales.
Interesting.
I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a little girl, but she was doing things that women just didn't do.
Okay,
so
love that.
Eugenie Clark.
2 more.
Oh my goodness, can you be one?
I mean, we can have dinner. Sure. Love that. I want to learn about ichthyology. Okay. Last one?
My last one. I'm thinking, I don't have any dudes on my list. I'm going to go to bed tonight and be like, oh, I should have said this person.
That's okay. That's okay. Fill in the blank. What do you think she'd say? It's funny because I interviewed for somebody to join the Krav Maga CDK family today as an employee, and I asked him the same question: who would be, the 5 people you would have dinner with? And I feel like there's always a bias. Every time I ask anybody that question, there's always a bias towards your own gender.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna see if this logic holds true. I'm gonna ask random people, I think, from the street from now on, and just be like, who would be your top 5 people, and see what they come up with, because I feel like there might be a gender bias. He named 4 dudes and 1 woman.
Okay.
And yeah, it's interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions now. So this is the closing round of questions. Okay, cool. If you could be a dinosaur, what kind of dinosaur would you be?
I really like the duck-billed one with the thing on its head. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, that's a half point. What was your favorite book growing up?
Hmm. Escape from Warsaw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you know it?
No,
Okay.
it sounds intense though.
It's a children's book from World War II. Well, young adult. Yeah.
I don't know. Was it
I read it like 3 or 4
triggering?
times. For me, it wasn't. It was like an adventure story. Just set in
Through
a
the
war
war?
zone.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm also avid armchair historian. I love history.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you do. Okay, okay, cool. If you could be a Spice Girl, which Spice Girl would you be?
I don't know that I'm versed enough in Spice Girls to
What?
know my choices.
There's Scary Spice, Posh Spice, Baby Spice, Ginger Spice, and Sporty Spice.
I'm gonna go with Scary because that's the only one I know.
Okay, well, she was my favorite, so there we go. Okay, if you could eat one type of food for the rest of your life, what would you eat?
Tacos.
Really? This doesn't actually surprise me that much. That makes sense. If you could deliver a TED talk, what would your topic be on?
Oh my goodness. TED Talks have to be
18 minutes.
and they're inspiring, or what is the
Inspiring, informational.
my brain is going to the foundation of the labor movement and that difference between the CIO structure and the AFL structure.
What's that? CIO structure?
CIO is a congressional, what is it? I can't even remember now because I'm on the spot. Basically, it's two different ways of looking at organized labor in the country, and it comes down to are we protecting the work and the classification of work, or are we organizing people? And one is sort of more framed toward the masses, and one is sort of framed more towards like protecting the skill. And there's I don't know. I just think it's fascinating. I'm probably getting too detailed.
That's fine. You're allowed to be detailed. Cats or dogs?
Oh man, I grew up with dogs and I have a cat now. It's not fair. Probably a cat because I ain't got time for walks and all that stuff. Although I do love puppy cuddles.
If you could implement one law across the United States, what would that law be?
30-hour work week.
Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. Why?
Americans just work too damn much. And well, okay, I'm taking that back. Maybe that's my second one. Can we get some affordable frickin' healthcare here, please? Yeah. Can we
as a
take
New
care of our
Zealander,
people?
as a New Zealander with free healthcare, yeah. It's an interesting. I always look at living in America as kind of like the most amazing anthropological study I could ever dream of.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that this video doesn't age well. Not like in 2 years from now, this is gonna be old news. But something tells me that's not gonna happen.
Nothing beats a fail but a try. If you had one philosophy in life, what would that philosophy be?
Give me an example. So I say that.
So, like, one of my philosophies that I will stand by till I'm no longer here is if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
I say that to myself all the time because of you.
But you can't steal that from me. Because of me? You said to yourself it was not because of me?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I am going with
Okay.
a favorite quote of mine, which is there's no such thing as an uninteresting topic. The only thing that can exist is an uninterested person.
Ooh, shots fired. I dig it. Okay, okay, cool. If you were to write a song, what would your song be called?
I'm not a songwriter at all.
Well, not that attitude.
Oh my goodness.
Your theme song for your life.
Stay grounded.
Oh, I like that
Nice.
title. Okay, okay. Who is, or you don't have to name them, but like, what was the most interesting photo shoot you've ever had?
The most interesting. I can tell you the most adventurous.
Sure.
I had a wedding one time that was the wedding party rented a double-decker bus.
Okay.
Everyone who was in the wedding also fit on the bus.
Okay.
They went around DC and they had different readings at different monuments, and then they ended up getting married at the I think it was the Jefferson Memorial.
Okay.
And we were all standing around waiting for this bus to arrive to pick us up, and it never arrived because the bus driver accidentally drove under the arch at the Department of Ag and shaved the top of the bus off. Luckily, he was fine. There was no one else on the bus.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, that was pretty interesting.
That's wild.
I've also been chased by a goose. I've been bitten by a miniature horse.
Sorry, you were bitten by a what?
Miniature horse.
Okay.
This job is not for the faint of heart, people.
Okay, and final question to anybody who is interested in working with you, what are 3 things that they should know before a photo shoot?
Don't worry, I got you. Like for
Ooh,
real.
don't
For
worry.
real.
She got you. Okay.
I would say, this is, I may be somewhat controversial here, but
Be
you
controversial.
don't need to worry about like insane hair and makeup and all this stuff. You can literally just show up as yourself. I actually was just having this conversation with another client. She did get a full face of makeup and her hair done, and she was really unhappy with the photos, not because of anything I did, but because she felt like she didn't look like herself. So, and I see this a lot where people, get the glam stuff. As a small business owner, I would just ask you, like, is that how you show up for your clients? And it's,
Authenticity.
yeah, it's also, a personal decision, but don't drive yourself crazy wondering if your hair is out of place or, oh my god, is my makeup just right? Like literally, it's okay. You can show up as yourself, and that's totally fine.
Cool.
And then the other question I get asked a lot is like, what do I wear? What do I wear? I always encourage a few different things to help people get started. Top of the line is like, wear what makes you feel fabulous, right? Like, I want you showing up feeling comfortable and confident. But if people still need help beyond that, really high necklines, clean lines, and then I always encourage jewel toned, bold, solid colors. Colors are gonna play up your skin tone. Statement jewelry, just for some visual appeal. You can add some layers. The one thing to avoid are tiny patterns. You see that a lot in men's suits, but it can create what we call a moire effect, which is where it looks like the fabric's moving. And now with AI, you could probably take that out, but up until about 3 years ago, there was no taking that out in post. But I would still encourage people to avoid like tiny patterns and just go with again, bold jewel tone solids.
Okay. Since you
Yeah.
brought it up, I've got one more question
Okay.
for you. Sorry. Not sorry. You can answer this question, like it or not. How do you feel like with the advancements in AI being so crazy, what are the benefits of having a real life photographer over getting AI images?
I have started to see more and more AI images. I've seen some on LinkedIn, I've seen some on Facebook, I've seen some on dating profiles.
Good Lord.
Ugh. I always, at least now, I still like repulse a little bit. I think I look so much at images that I can immediately tell if something's AI or not. Most people probably can as well, but I would say the benefits of hiring a professional photographer are multifold. If you look at the world like I do, you are supporting a local business and keeping your money local. So thank you. But more than that, you're going to have an experience and you may come away learning something about yourself, seeing yourself in a way that you haven't seen yourself before. And yeah, hopefully you will enjoy that. I know AI is like, it's easy to go to and easy to get it, but it still looks fake as all get out. So don't do it.
Okay. And that's us for today, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is Jonna Michelle Photography. Check her out on Instagram and Facebook. And until next time, well, actually, until next week, because I'm launching season 3 of Real Talk
Okay.
on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So,
Can I plug my email newsletter?
yeah.
Yeah, I got an email newsletter, everybody.
How does everybody sign up?
That's a good question because people got to just send me their email address.
Okay,
That's the
so
best way.
what you should do is follow her on Facebook, Jonna Michelle Photography. Send her a message with her email address so you can be added
Yeah.
to her email address, her
And
email list.
Instagram too, Jonna Michelle Photography.
What? Branding. Ha. Ha. Peace.